Um, so I said the last time we chatted, you weren't champion yet, and you told us how much you wanted to become champion, and now you're champion, and you're going up against Apollo Crews for like, I think it's been half a dozen times. You guys have probably. I feel like there's quite a bit of excitement in the air, and I just want to know from you, what do you think will be different about this WrestleMania match, and do you feel that his change in character makes him look a little bit more champion worthy?
Yeah, I think if you look at Apollo Cruz's presentation now as compared to 4 or 5 months ago, I feel like it's clear that there's more invested in him, that he feels like a bigger player now, especially when you see him with the new entrants, you see him come out with the guards. You could tell that there's more invested in him. I think what's different about this is that, for me at least, this is the first time I've had a real blood feud, a singles blood feud with someone where, like, you know, if a man tries to drop a set of steel steps on you, you should want to do something pretty bad to him. So that's the situation we're at right now. And, you know, he's a guy who's always been extremely talented, but has never, whether it's him providing the opportunity for himself or being given that opportunity, he's really never been featured as that top tier real threat. And I think now he feels like a guy who, yeah, like he feels like he could be a major player. And I think for me, I want to face guys when they're at their best. I want to face talent when they're at the peak, and I want people to be invested. If it's just me and some guy, then who really cares about me? Who cares about the match? Who cares about the program? So, you know, I might not like the way he goes about doing things, but I have a ton of respect for Apollo Crews and his ability, man. He could do it all, from the gorilla presses to like moving like a luchador. Like he's incredible.
We're going to come next to Sohail at Al Jazeera in the Middle East.
Hi there. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Good morning, Biggie.
Good morning. I appreciate it.
Firstly, just want to say good luck for the show. Pleasure speaking to you. I need to ask you a couple of things, two parts to my question, really.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, fans being back at WrestleMania, how amped are you and the rest of the locker room to have fans back? And the second part, what important role do fans play, and how important are they to WWE and the show to be successful?
Well, they're massive. It's massive. I know we've been doing our best with the Thunderdome, and we have our fans there virtually. It's obviously it's a pandemic, so safety is most important. That's the priority. But man, like for me, if you look at any great match, if you look at the great runs in wrestling history, it's all because of fan reaction. Like what made me a massive Goldberg fan as a kid. I mean, sure, he looked cool and he was muscular and jacked, but it was these arenas just going crazy for him. That's what got me invested. When you think of Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement, you think of him and his in-ring ability, but you also think of those wide shots where you pull out and you see the entire arena and everyone's doing the Yes chant. Same thing with Kofi. It's the reaction. It's that organic reaction, and there's nothing like it. And I think that's what really separates our business and our industry and WWE from so many other facets of entertainment, is you have this very real, live, sometimes unpredictable organism when you have our fans. And they're just as important as honestly as the wrestlers in the ring as far as making those massive moments. And you know, it's exciting to be able to come back. For me, selfishly, I'm also home. This is Raymond James. This is the same stadium where I played my high school football all-star game in 2003. This is my city. I'm born and raised here. I still live here. So for me to be able to come back after over a year of not having fans, and the first match in front of fans is at home in Tampa, in my city, just down the road, is something that I'm really grateful for.
We're going to come next to Jack Hudson over in Australia.
G'day, Big E. How you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I just want to ask, what is your favourite aspect about the whole build-up to WrestleMania? Is it the fans? Is it just the excitement? And what's the feeling like amongst the locker room in the lead-up to it?
The lead-up has been cool, you know. I think This is, I feel like you'll get a lot of stock answers. One thing that I'm excited for in our build to WrestleMania is 2 days before, I guess a day before Kofi and Woods have their match, we have the very first time we're coming back doing a live version of our podcast, and we haven't done that in a long time, and we're going to have brunch, and there will be bottomless mimosas. So that's really a highlight of my build towards WrestleMania is brunch with the boys. But I think just kind of for us, the excitement is in getting back to what we do. That's when we all first started wrestling, I first started in 2009, and it was all about your ability to move a crowd. That's the beauty of what we do. And I think there are guys who can do it all in the ring, but don't necessarily get that crowd reaction. And there are guys who really aren't that good in the ring, but get great reactions. And I think the pandemic era kind of can expose certain people. I think the beautiful thing with getting back to crowds is we're getting back into the essence of our industry, of our craft. And I'm excited, man. I'm hoping that people are as excited as we are, and that they're loud and that they're into it. And I hope we get to put on a great show for them too.
We're going to go next to Claudio at Contrattack in Italy.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you very much. First of all, sorry because I don't speak English very well, but I'll try.
Sounds good to me.
Just one question, Biggie. Compared to when you started wrestling in WWE, what is the quality do you think you have developed better in those years? Thank you.
Oh, for me, no, thank you. For me, it's easily becoming a more comfortable performer. I think the New Day run helped me immensely. I was just I cringe watching back some of my earlier stuff when it's promos or just the way I present myself. I very much just wanted to present this tough, big, kind of at times emotionless guy. And it's boring, honestly. It's done to death. It's not imaginative. We already have Brock Lesnar. We had Mark Henry at the time. And so for me, like the New Day allowed me to find an avenue where I feel like, and maybe this is arrogant to say, I don't think anyone can just step into my shoes. I don't think if you take me off of TV or my career is over today, I don't think you could just find any wrestler out there to do everything that I do as far as promo ability and charisma and ability to make you laugh, but also to be intense. Like to me, that's what makes a well-rounded performer, and that's what I want to be. And the New Day run really allowed me just to just spread my wings as far as character is concerned, and just be very comfortable being loose, being obnoxious, being weird, being silly. So now I feel like, in many ways, I'm kind of pulling back and being, I still wanted to be myself with this run. And I wanted to entertain people and be fun, but I also needed an added sense of purpose, an added sense of drive. I didn't want to just be the guy in the locker room shots, just acting an ass, because Kofi and Woods gave me their blessing to go solo, and now we're on different shows. And if I'm just a guy who's floating or just a guy who's happy to be here, then I feel like I've done myself and I've done them an injustice. And also all the fans who clamored for so long for me to get opportunities, I feel like I failed them too. So that's what it is now for me. It's still bringing the elements of what I've been doing the last 5-6 years, but there's this added sense of purpose. Because now, man, I want to win championships. I want to establish a legacy as just Big E that I can be proud of.
Let's come next to Lucas Charpiot at VL Media in France.
Hello, Biggie. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. Absolute pleasure talking to you. First of all, I wanted to congratulate you on winning the Wrestling Observer John Huber and Chad Gaspard Memorial Award. You have been an activist for the Black Lives Matter movement, and now you are launching Our Heroes Work, a 3D animated family series show. The pilot episode about Ruby Bridge, the child who was the first to be in elementary school in the South on November 1960. Could you tell us more about that project and how it is important for you? Is there a launch date, and where would it be available? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's massively important to us. Right now, we've kind of, just because it's a long process, we've given ourselves, hopefully it doesn't take this long, but we've given ourselves to the end of the year. So December of 2021, the film will be released, hopefully sooner than that. But man, we're so excited about it. I think for me, after the murder of George Floyd, I felt this real hopelessness at first. You know, I felt a real sorrow I hadn't before. I don't remember a death of someone that I'd never met really affecting me in this way. And I had so many conversations with my family members, with my Black friends, and so many like teary, emotional conversations. And also when you mentioned Brody, again, like, it was, in many ways, it was a hard year. That was one of my best friends on the earth, and it's hard to imagine that he's gone. So I think for me, there just felt this, I don't want to say pressure, but there felt a real need for me to use my time here, because there's no guarantees. You know, my career in WWE, there are no guarantees, whether it's injury, who knows what can happen. I have an opportunity, I have a platform, I have time on this earth, and a time where people know my name and care somewhat about what I have to say. So I want to use that for good, man. And so I got with Jonathan Davenport and Andreas Hale. Those are my friends, but also two very talented individuals who I'm working on this project with. And it's as much theirs as it is mine. And, you know, we're just so excited about this. It's, for us, it's the spiritual successor to Schoolhouse Rock. You know, I know so many people who are in their 20s, some in their 50s and 60s, who know those same Schoolhouse Rock jingles. And they learned about bills and laws. And we thought, why can't we do the same thing with these important Black historical figures? And I think the story of Ruby Bridges is so incredible. Like you said, she was a 6-year-old girl who had to integrate an all-white school in New Orleans in 1960. She's younger than both my parents. She's still alive. Like, these things, these issues, systemic racism, we see these Black and white pictures and we think, oh, that was 100, 200 years ago, but it wasn't that long ago. And they're still very poignant. So I think if we continue to tell these stories, if we educate our children, I think the beautiful thing too is with her story, with Ruby Bridges, is you have this Black girl who had to be extremely brave. And she was escorted to school by 4 U.S. Marshals. But you also have the story of one white teacher, Barbara Henry. She was the only teacher who said, I'm going to teach this child. So you have the story of someone who stood up and did the right thing, even though this racism, the system didn't negatively affect her. But she said, this is the right thing to do, and I'm going to do it. So I think it's just an incredible story all around. And we also want to reiterate that it's fun. We're using 3D animation. It looks incredible. We're using hip hop. 2-time Grammy nominee Rhapsody is incredible. Eric the Architect is one of my favorite producers on the earth. And we're just really excited to make this short film. I know it's going to be incredible. And yeah, our Kickstarter is still going. It's ourheroesrock.org. It'll actually conclude as soon as WrestleMania is over. Sunday is over, our Kickstarter will be over, and then we get to start working on this film.
Let's come next to Sean at midday in India.
Hi, Biggie.
What's happening?
Hi. Okay. First of all, congratulations on your big match at WrestleMania 37. My first question would be to you is, how does it feel to have the universe back at Mania 37? How different has it been performing without the fans around for so long?
It's going to be a readjustment. Like, we had to adjust to no fans and the Thunderdome, and you know, I feel like we made the best of not having fans there. But we're excited to get back, just to be in front of fans who, you know, we're doing the best we can with like the canned reactions, but it's really hard for me to think, oh, this match is really awesome if it's just someone in a truck hitting the "This is awesome" chant. And, you know, I know, like I said, we're doing the best we can, but when you're actually out there and people are telling you that you're killing it, and you can look them in the eyes and they're telling you, yeah, we love this, or we're entertained, or we're happy that we spent our hard-earned money to watch you, that, to me, that's the best, most fulfilling way to connect with an audience. And that's what I'm excited about, is getting back to that and just entertaining people. It's been a hard year for so many people, and hopefully, whether you're watching in the stands or whether you're at home, hopefully we can help to lighten things for a little bit, entertain people at home, and you know, hopefully we put on a hell of a show.
Let's come next to Matty Paddock in the UK. Matty Paddock in the UK. Free to unmute. There we go.
Yep. Hi guys. Sorry, I'm with you eventually. You touched on it on the first question there, just about the character development of Apollo going into the weekend. I'd like to get your kind of further thoughts on that, because it mirrors yourself really. You mentioned a few minutes ago really that earlier in your career you only really had your kind of intense physicality to go on and to build on really, and he's been in quite a similar circumstance, and yet his character change seems quite abrupt, and a lot of it seemed to just arrive one week on SmackDown, and yet he's kind of making the best of it. I would have thought. What's your view on it overall?
Yeah, no, I think the same. And I think for a lot of people who have criticisms, and I'm not saying they're not rightly placed, but I will say, you know, for me, even as a Black man, I'm not Nigerian. I'm not Nigerian American, so I can't really speak to his experience. So it's oftentimes I'm reaching out to people like, you know, Wale or my buddy Kaz, who are Nigerian, and like, hey, does this feel right to you? Is this authentic? So for me, you know, it's I feel in many ways it's not my place to tell him the best way to be Nigerian or to be Nigerian American or to represent his people, because these are things that I'm learning that I don't know. But, you know, in many ways too, some of my character changes were a bit abrupt. You know, for a while, I think it was around the time I was working Rusev, and we were just playing around with different deliveries, and I knew I needed to do something different. And again, I wouldn't watch his back because I'd be cringing, but I think I just come out and start cutting this like all-American preacher style promo with this delivery that I've never used before. And that was abrupt. And for me, it's kind of finding that footing. And I had to learn to pull back certain things. And over time, my hope, you know, for Apollo's sake, is that he's able to figure out where to pull back and where to adjust. And like you said, oftentimes, like what we do in WWE, so much of it is on the fly. So much of it is, here, this is what you're handed, make the best of it. And so that's what I think he's being tasked with right now, is he has to find ways to make the best of it. What's going to be important for him is when he moves on from me, when I beat him and he has to move on, like if he's trying to sustain a career in WWE, he's going to have to figure this out. And in that sense, you know, I see a guy who's really talented, extremely talented, and I want to see him win. I don't want to see him win against me, but I want to see him win in the sense that I hope he's a guy who can figure it out, and that he's not a guy who's off TV and we don't see him again, because we need talented guys like that. We need to keep featuring. We have, man, our roster is stacked. When you look at SmackDown, I'm telling you, we easily, in my opinion, we probably have a half dozen guys who could be world champion. And we have a bunch of guys who have never touched a world title who could be world champions on our roster alone. So I want to see more of those guys get opportunities to really add to the show, because we're stacked as a roster. We are really stacked. We just need certain guys to get those opportunities, to kick through the door, whatever it is, and to really shine.
Let's come next to Matthias at Larrazón in Spain.
Well, hi guys. Hi, Biggie. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to ask you, I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm a big fan of your entrances with the New Day. So are you preparing something? I know Apollo will play in a big league in terms of his entrance, but are you planning to do something special?
Yeah, we got a little something cooking up right now, but of course I can't divulge it to you, because then we would just ruin the whole surprise. And I like surprises. That's one of the things as a fan. I like watching WrestleMania, and I don't want to know the gear beforehand. I don't want to see the gear. I want to see the new gear. I want to be surprised by things. And I know we're also in this day and age where we want to announce guests and people like that to get more eyes on the show. And I get that, but I'd rather keep this close to the vest. But yes, we have something you probably actually will be hearing about soon-ish, but we have something cool planned that I'm excited about.
Let's come next to Andre at Route Music in Germany.
Hello from Germany. So I would like to talk about the Hall of Fame, which was happening yesterday, for example. Obviously, the New Day, and you also, as a singles competitor, will be inducted into the Hall of Fame one day. So I would like to know who do you want to induct the New Day, or you, and who had the biggest influence on your career, and who gave you the biggest advice, I would say?
Man, that is a good one. So I always, it seems a bit presumptuous to say, yeah, of course I'm a future Hall of Famer. So I don't know about that. But if we were to be inducted, man, I'd probably say the Usos, just because I think they're easily our greatest tag team rivalry. I'm still very proud of our Hell in a Cell match. I think we were together for about 5 months, even things like the rap battle with Wale. And you know how those segments can go, man. They could be real stinkers. And that one ended up being a lot of fun. I really like, I know like Daniel Bryan is, as far as like a purist, he's up there. He gets the entertainment stuff and embraces it too. But when we got to the back and he said, man, you guys could have done that for the entire hour. Because I think we might have been crossover. He said, you guys could have done that for a whole hour and I would have been like glued to the screen. That felt good. You know, we got really good reception for that. And that was a ton of fun. So I would say the Usos, we just done so many cool things. I think those guys see the business so much like us. It felt like we just gelled so much, man, whether it's, they get it, you know, they see the business like we see the business. They're selfless in many of the same ways. So I have a ton of respect for those guys. And I think they're Hall of Famers in their own right. But I'd say the Usos for inducting us, but it's very strange to even think about being inducted. As far as a great advice, man, you know, there have been so many people along the way, even people like, man, like Kurt Hawkins was the one who gave me my finish when I was in FCW. This is in 2009. It was called the Body Bag. Then I think he stole it from another like indie wrestler and said, hey, you should try this. So like there are guys like that, man. Even like Michael Tarver was super influential in my career at a time when I was really green in FCW. We were kind of married. I think we had 6 straight matches. And he, at the time where he had way more experience than me, he had been on the road, and he just kind of took his time with me to say, this is how you should see yourself. This is how I see you. So it was the first time someone said like, hey, this is how you start to make yourself different. This is how you separate yourself. Joey Mercury at a time in FCW. Again, there are just so many people along the ways who just really kind of selflessly gave me advice or pulled me aside, and I'm really appreciative of that. You know, and they're big names too, like your Cenas of the world. But I also want to be thankful for so many of the guys years ago at the very start of my career, and like Dr. Tom Pritchard, Norman Smiley, those guys, so many guys like that. So it's hard to just identify one.
Let's come next to Let's come next to Alex McCarthy at TalkSport in the UK.
Big E, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. First of all, to echo what was said earlier, congratulations on the Our Heroes Rock and having a big featured WrestleMania spot, man. That's awesome for you. I want to ask, I remember when we had a conference call last year and you were saying, I hope this run is everything that everyone wants it to be and all of that good stuff. And there's been a few moments along the way, man, where, you know, working with Sheamus and taking the title off Sammy, I just want to get, you know, some of your thoughts on those guys and the rivalries that you had there and those moments, like working with them. How awesome was it to kind of pair with, I know Sammy's like a good friend of yours, right? And you've known Sheamus for years. Talk to me about how it is to work with them and really flesh out and fulfill this solo prophecy, as it were.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, man. As much as like I might want to accept credit for the run, I think, you know, now that you mention it, I've been really blessed with having pretty much the entire way through of the solo run. I've been really blessed to be with great dance partners. I think you look at Sheamus and he's had some kind of revitalization of his career. Like he's been killing it in ring, man. And same thing, like he brings a certain intensity out of you. You know, when you watch a Sheamus match, it's going to be some brutality. Like you're going to see some welts on him and he's going to like, my skin is just darker, but I got the same welts on me as well. But, you know, we had a physical, man, that false count anywhere was physical. And that's what it is with Sheamus. And he brings that side out of you. And I love that we got to do the stuff with the car and the security guard. And like he was kind of that perfect dance partner for a guy who he allowed me to show this level of an intensity that maybe I hadn't really needed to bring out before. Because you know, that guy's gonna bring it. And if you don't bring it, he's gonna eat you up. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna be eaten up on live TV. It's not gonna happen. So I really appreciate that. And Sammy, man, Sammy is so wildly entertaining. There are times too where we do stuff and I'm like, man, I think I need to be more serious here. But I also don't want to just be overshadowed by him. When we did the Wards thing and he's got the slick back hair and the suit. I just watched the stuff with Logan Paul, whatever dance moves he would do. I couldn't look away. It was incredible. I'm so wildly entertained by him and his nonsense. So I've, you know, like Sheamus and Sammy, and then having Apollo really step it up. And that's what I love as far as, you know, great feuds or programs is I love when guys not only can bring it in the ring or physically, but also bring something new with characters. And I love that all three of those guys are so unique. I don't think we have another Sheamus. There's definitely not another Sammy, and Apollo is separating himself too. And I've been really appreciative of that, because if I'm just in the ring with a guy who's a great worker, but he's not much of a character, people aren't invested in him, then it's not as interesting to me. I want a guy that I can go like toe to toe with, a guy that people think, man, he could take the title off of him because he's got a lot of momentum himself. So yeah, man, those guys I have a ton of respect for. Honestly, like, you know, Sammy and Sheamus are definitely, to me, future Hall of Famers. If you look at the totality of their careers and all the things they've done, I think they're definitely worthy of that. And Apollo, you know, he's a guy who's extremely talented as well. And hopefully he's still young, man. He's got so much more room to grow. So a lot of talent that I've been able to stand across the ring from.
Let's come next to Carla Matamoros from Super Geek over in Latin America.
Okay, Biggie, how you doing? Good morning.
Good, how are you? Good morning.
Okay, first of all, it's Carlos Matamoros, my name. Carla is my sister, so I'm taking her computer. That's why it's her name there. Well, we're talking about WrestleMania. So there is the first ever Nigerian Dream fight, and where you're going to defend your Intercontinental Championship against Apollo. I know you can't tell us exactly what we're gonna see, but what do you expect for this stipulation?
That's a great question. I've had people reach out to me and ask me the same thing. I don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is. I'll be doing some Googling. Maybe reach out to some historians. If you all are wrestling fans, if there's a match that exists, maybe some obscure indie match that I didn't know of, I've never heard of it, but maybe I don't know, man. We're gonna figure this thing out on the fly. You know, sometimes you're just out there and we make up the rules as we go. I don't know. I'm sure there will be some clarification at some point, but you can expect brutality and physicality and violence and pain and suffering and bloodshed. Maybe no bloodshed. Maybe no bloodshed, but it'll be physical. And I can assure you of that. I might not know the rules, but it's going to be physical.
Let's come over to Aditya at India.com.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Biggie. Congratulations for your WrestleMania match.
Thank you.
I just want to ask you, as we have seen many feuds in past, WWE have bring up matches between the former tag team partners. So who do you want to face amongst Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods at the biggest stage of all, WrestleMania in future?
Nice try. It ain't happening. We got a word for people like you. A word we've been saying. I thought you would know by now. You are a wedge driver. You're trying to drive a wedge between me and my brothers. Why would I want to do that? That's like me. I wouldn't go up to you and say, hey, who would you like to have a match with? Your mom or your sister? Who do you want to beat up? You know what I mean? Your loved ones, people you love? I would never say that because I respect you. I just want you to respect me. Why don't you respect me and my family and what we built? Try to have me hit my brother. Why would I want to hit? For what? What's the point? We have a whole sea. We have hundreds of men signed to WWE on NXT, on 205, on SmackDown, Raw. We have so many men who I can beat up, who I can put hands on. And you want me to hit my family? You should be ashamed of yourself. And you sound like a decent human being otherwise, but you got to take a good look inside yourself and look at your moral fiber, which has eroded, is barely hanging on. So and do some soul searching, some deep thinking, because it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
David Dunn from NZPWI.
Hi, Big E. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. I've heard it said and passed by some WWE superstars that one of the sort of unintended highlights of WrestleMania weekend is that you're based in the same location for a week and you get a bit of a break from the road. Obviously, this past year, it's panned out in a way that no one would have ever hoped for. But have there been any sort of unexpected benefits to being, in Orlando for the first half of the year, Tampa for the second half, stuck in the same location for a number of months?
Oh yeah, man. I'm not the spring chicken I once was. I'm a little long in the tooth. And I look back now and think, how did we drive 250, 300 miles a night, do 4 to 5 shows a week, be home, sometimes have appearances, not be home? There were definitely stretches when we do our European tours where I'd be gone. I look at the calendar and I'd be, okay, I'm gone for 20 straight days, or I'm just gone. And then I might have to shoot something else in LA. And there are times where I've been home 3 to 4 days in a whole month. And I don't have kids or a wife, but I like being home. I like my couch and I like my bed and I like to sleep in it. And that's the beautiful thing is this past year, I have been in my bed, I think pretty much every night. We had to leave to shoot something once, but beyond that, I've been home every single night because Orlando is an hour and a half from me. We just finished up at the Trop. That's about 40, 45 minutes from me. So I've been extremely grateful for it. I didn't know how I would take it because you get so used to the hustle and bustle of the road, but I'm just really loving my time being at home and just having more time to sleep and not having to deal with airports and airplanes. And as much as we do love traveling and seeing our fans abroad, I just really enjoyed being home, having more time to, I will talk people's ear off about meditation because that's what I do now. Every day I make sure to meditate in the morning. I go on walks in my neighborhood. I know my neighbors now because I'm actually here and I say hello to them from a distance. It's very safe, but that's been the beautiful thing is just having more time to be at peace, to get some rest, to learn about me, to some self-love, that's all.
Let's come next to Alistair McGeorge at Metro in the UK.
Hey man, how's it going?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, yeah, not too bad, thank you. I want to go back to the draft and New Day obviously going on to separate shows. And I was wondering on a personal level, how was that adjustment for you? And also what were kind of the biggest challenges in going back to being a solo performer after so long in that unit?
We were bummed, man. We were definitely bummed. We definitely think we wanted to just like Kofi was able to become a world champion with our group still being intact with us being on the same show. And I also feel like it allows us more opportunities in that, hey, we can do six mans, we can do tag stuff, we can do solo stuff. We're like this Swiss Army knife of a faction and that we can all, break apart and come together. And that's what we wanted. But, I think there was a bit of a silver lining with us being on separate shows is it forced us to kind of create some separate identities. And man, those two are such a comfort blanket for me, just knowing that they're there and we can talk. But the biggest thing was I just had to adjust to being out there on my own and finding my own footing for what felt right. Even simple things like, hey, how do I come down the ramp? How do I enter the ring now? I have new theme music, a new song from Wale, a great friend of mine and an incredible rapper. But now it's the feeling of it is a little bit different. We go from that upbeat gospel to now like a more heavy hitting hip hop song too. So even the feel of how I enter and having to think about like gear now, do I need to be darker here? So these are all things that I'm still kind of playing with because I think the identity definitely shifts whether I want it to or not, going from this jovial 3-man group to now being on my own. And one of the things that we talked about before is we would do things where, let's say Kofi had a wedding or was out or something, and it's just me and Woods. And we'd even talk about on live events how it's weird to come out just with the two of us. And there are times where like I think like log rolling down the ramp to the ring works when there's another person there and it's this big chaotic mess. But when it's just you, you know, things just feel different. Or being really obnoxious and not having anyone there to co-sign you or to laugh for you. So the dynamic just shifts just without having those two extra bodies there. And it's just been a matter of finding like, hey, what feels right? How do I still make sure that I'm myself and that I'm unique? Because the biggest thing is I wanted to make sure that I didn't just regress to, all right, I'm alone now. Let's just go back to the old black singlet with the Jamaican colors on it and, you know, and just be, but there were elements of that I still wanted to play with. So it's still me kind of finding that balance of what feels right.
Let's come next to Miguel Perez at Marca in Spain.
Hello, Vicky. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Would you like to give Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods opportunity for the Intercontinental Championship?
What did you say? Were you not paying attention earlier, sir? There will be no fisticuffs between the New Day members ever. You hear? There
Yes.
are hundreds of men. First of all, they're not even on the show. They're not even eligible for an IC title shot. If they get on the show, they'll go after other titles. They'll do other things. Why would I don't want to beat them up. You know, I think on a more serious note, one of the things that we wanted to portray, which I don't think I can never really remember, not over long term, is we have so many of these stories in wrestling where factions and groups and stables it's all about them turning on each other. And I get it, that can be interesting because you want to see this dynamic of people who got along and now it's starting to fray a little bit. And now the relationship and the dynamic is changing and who's going to turn on who. But you don't get Kofi Mania in the same way you do if we had listened to people clamoring for us to break up or to turn on each other. You don't get those opportunities to tell those stories of brotherhood. To me, I know I was in it, so I know I'm biased, but I thought it was just cool to say, hey, Kofi and Big E, you guys have a gauntlet and it's going to take an hour. And if you win this gauntlet, if you are the victors at the end of it, then you get to have this opportunity, not for yourselves, but for your brother, for Kofi. So I just thought it was dope. And the same thing with the Usos coming out and saying like, hey, we believe in Kofi, we're going to forfeit. I don't think you get those incredible moments. Stories of brotherhood and guys who really want to see their guy, their family member succeed. And I think it's interesting. I think it's unique. And we genuinely feel that way. Even after all these years, our relationship hasn't frayed. I can't tell you how excited I am to do our podcast in person again, just to be with those guys. And like, I still light up when I see them, man. And that's real friendship. That's real brotherhood. And I just don't, to me, it's not interesting having a match between, and then you have the weird third man. Like if I'm going to wrestle Kofi for the title, what is Woods doing? It's just, I have no interest in it, and stop asking about that. Stop asking. You can ask, it's fine. I was just joking.
Let's come to Giuseppe at Asca News in Italy.
Hi, Biggie.
What's happening? Good. How are you?
It's okay. It's okay. Which is the thing that you miss more than anything of the New Day, actually?
Ooh, this is a good question. What do I miss the most? I just miss seeing those guys, honestly, in person, because now being on separate shows, I only kind of see them at pay-per-views, and that's about it. But we have so many times too, like some of my fondest memories in matches there are times where we would all get bumped to the floor or something, and the three of us all have a moment to just kind of talk or just like have a bit of a huddle. We did that. We had that Elimination Chamber match, and can't really divulge what we talked about because it's not lewd, but I can't say. But anyways, there's a moment that we'll always cackle about because I think it's right after we had this idea. Kofi really wanted to stuff Titus's head through the chains, and that just really made him giggle, and it made us giggle too. So we end up doing that, and there's a moment where he finally gets freed from the chains, but I think we're all bumped down, and the three of us have a moment to just kind of talk. And those are the moments where, you know, there are times too on live events where, you know, we'll be just on tour, or the crowd will be incredible, and we'll just look at each other and say, man, this is pretty cool. So just those moments where the three of us can just have our little huddles and our get-togethers, and you know, I think we still have a lot left in the tank, but in the same vein, I want to smell the roses, because we're also, you know, Woods is the youngest at 34, Kofi's almost 40, and you never know when this is going to be over. So I just want to be appreciative of those moments, and I hope we get to have more of those moments together. You know, this journey has been incredible. We were just three guys trying to get on TV. We were just trying to save our jobs, honestly. And the fact that we're able to go down with a world championship, with over 10 tag title reigns, with the longest tag run ever at 483 days, that broke a 20-year-old record, for three guys just trying to have some fun and get on TV, like that's incredible, and I'm grateful for that.
Let's come to Michael Morales Torres at Lucha Libre Online.
Hey, Biggie, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Everything good here in Puerto Rico, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I wanted to ask you, as a Black man, as an African American, how does it feel for you to have the opportunity to show everyone that you are the Intercontinental Champion and have the opportunity to have the spotlight in WrestleMania, not only for the rest of the world, but specifically, you know, for the culture, for the African Americans out there that are looking at you as a role model?
I think it's important, man. Representation does matter, especially in media. And I'm someone who, in many ways, I felt like I was raised by TV and by film, because I spent so much of my childhood and still today just, you know, plopped in front of a couch watching stories. And it's an honor. And, you know, one of the things that I really that I really love is looking around the company, and you look at the WrestleMania card, and there are Black talent throughout. And what I think is most important is, to me, when you look at that card, you don't see a bunch of Black talent who are like, you just are given that opportunity as a diversity initiative, or because we just needed more Black talent. You look at Bianca, she's undeniable. She's an undeniable star to me. Same thing with Sasha. You look at Bobby, like you look at all the Black talent on this card from top to bottom. And I just think, man, there's so many people who are deserving, who are incredibly talented. And you see that throughout our industry. And it's something I started paying more attention to the last few years, is that even outside our company, there are just so many really talented Black wrestlers who are unique, who don't have to lean on stereotypes, who can be themselves, who can be nerds, or just present themselves in a unique way. And that's something that I'm really proud of. And I hope we get to see more of that, people from all shades and backgrounds getting to do what we do. And hopefully the message is that there should be no limitations based on your skin color or your sexual orientation or anything like that. If you're dope and you're good at what you do, you should be given the same opportunities as your white counterparts.
We've got time for a couple more, so we'll come first to Andy Spores at AOL in the UK.
Hi, Biggie. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. As a regular listener to the New Day podcast, I feel like I have to start off with Big E salute. With the hand curved backwards. But onto the question, you were right in the middle of one of the biggest WrestleMania moments in recent years when the Hardys came back at 33. What's some of your favorite fan pops that you've experienced personally? And can you explain that kind of emotion that goes through your body?
Man, it's incredible because I think with the Hardys, so they did such an incredible job keeping that secret. We didn't really even know, honestly, until we got into Gorilla. We had kind of heard maybe this is what's going to happen, maybe like the day before, but like it was just a rumor from someone else who had heard it. You know, it was like third or fourth party, but we got in Gorilla, and then just to know that these people, this like almost 100,000 people, they have no idea what's coming. And then just to be able to take them on, like, I'm just getting goosebumps just even thinking about it. And I rewatched, I think Matt posted the clip recently, and it's such a cool moment. And even though it's not really about us, I was just so honored to even be a small part of it. Seeing people lose their minds for that was incredible. Also, again, I was kind of a part of this, but it really wasn't about me, was being there for Dolph when he cashed in. And Dolph then, this is 2013, was red hot, man. And he was that internet darling, the guy that people just wanted to see, like, man, this guy's so good and you're not giving him that opportunity. And for him to finally cash in and to see the Izod Center the day after WrestleMania erupt, that was incredible. And then two, man, even being there for, you know, a lot of us, kind of the thing is, if you know Undertaker's a surprise or if he's on the show, is, you know, just finding that spot where you can peek out from the side through a curtain and just watch. And that's the biggest thing, is like, you want to watch and look at the kids' faces and see how they react. Look at the 40-year-old man, look how he loses his mind when he hears that gong. You know, those are the truly special moments. And those are all because of crowds. And, you know, we're doing the best we can in this pandemic with the Thunderdome, but that's one reason we're so excited to get back to crowds, is because all those moments, like you said, they're all about just massive crowds and massive reactions. And this isn't, I don't know if this goes down as like one of the biggest pops in history or anything, but for me at the time, the pop we had in Brooklyn, when in 2015, when we started our 483-day reign, we won that four-way. I think it was Kofi pinning Darren, something like that. But as soon as that happened, I remember, like, I could barely sleep that night because I was just buzzing off the adrenaline, the way the crowd received us. That was us at, like, just really getting there in 2015, of really getting people behind us. So those moments and those pops, man, there's nothing like it. And I was a guy for a while when I first got in the business. I told myself, I was 23. I said, man, I'm going to retire at 35. I don't want to be one of those old guys who hangs around. And now I'm 35. And I get it, though. I get why guys wrestle and women wrestle into their 40s and 50s, and why some people can't let go, because there's nothing like it, man. That drug, that feeling, that euphoria of really having a crowd in your hands, of seeing them lose their minds or cheer for you, it's one of the best feelings you can ever have in the world, man. There's nothing like it. And that's what I think makes our business and our industry so special.
Let's come to Philip Platzer at Hoyt in Austria.
Hello, Biggie.
What's happening?
Austria. All my questions have been answered so far, so it's for me to wish you good luck in your match. We'll be going live in the middle of the night to root for you, and looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Catch a nap or something, you know, get a nap, get well rested, something. But thank you. I appreciate it.